Hello and thank you for taking the time to view my video. Today I will be discussing and evaluating whether Priceline's user agreement is a valid contract, whether consumers need to agree to the terms or if they agree through the use of the services, if there are any users' obligations or obligations per agreement, and if there are any statements that are unenforceable and need to be changed. Priceline's user agreement is found on the website through their Terms and Conditions link at the bottom of the page. This user agreement approaches all of the aspects between the company and its consumers. It is a contract that shows clearly the rules of the website and the limits of the relationship between business and consumers through law. Let's go through the content of Priceline's user agreement's general terms and conditions in more detail. We will be able to find answers to all of our questions throughout the contract. In the contract, everything about copyright and trademark is very clear. The agreement states that all content on the website is owned and copyrights by Priceline. Any reproductions or storage of anything via the website will be a situation brought before the law. There is a specific area where Priceline provides contact info and guidelines if a user were to want to make a claim of copyright infringement to Priceline. This area is well thought out because it allows open communication between the user and the company in order to be able to mend any problem in that area. All phrases and terms specified in Article B relates to these phrases being trademarked. This also includes logos, symbols, the name, and other elements that are trademarked by Priceline. All of this is just to make clear to the users where the company stands when it comes to copyright and trademark so nothing will be misunderstood. The user's agreement then proceeds to discuss how to use the website in the correct manner. It tells the user that if they want to use the website, they have to agree to not use it for any unlawful activity. They provide a list of things that users are not allowed to use through the site. Priceline asks users to provide truthful information when using this website in order to be able to use it. They go into detail about accounts, security, and passwords when registering in order to use the website. The responsibility of the account and its password is that of the user. The privacy policy is then introduced with the agreement stating that users have to agree to have read the privacy policy and agree to the terms in order to make clear that the terms are understood and accepted. It allows the company to affirm that the users are aware of the use of their personal information by Priceline and its providers and distributors in order to provide the service requested. These articles can bring up the question if it matters whether a visitor affirmatively consents through clicking an I agree icon or something similar, or should a user be bound solely through use. For Priceline, I think it would be best if the visitor consents to all the contracts and agreements of the website by clicking an I agree icon. This lets the company know that the user has clearly understood all of the rules and regulations that go with the use of Priceline's services. This also can be used as a piece of evidence to prove all parties were consent in the agreement of contracts if there were ever to be a problem between the company and the user. These articles also answer the question as to if there are some of the user's obligations. Users are obligated to be truthful in the information they provide, and they are also obligated to not use the website in any unlawful manner. The Priceline Users Agreement continues with the explanation of the warranties. They state that they make no warranties of any kind to any of the services provided. They do not make a warranty or a guarantee that what the user is hoping to find will be what they have to offer through their products or services. Persons under the age of 18 are not able to obtain any services through Priceline. There is a limitation of the liability of Priceline when it comes to damages and breaches of any contracts. The travel service providers are independent and are not allied with the Priceline's company. Priceline only receives the requests and proposes solutions to different providers. If there are any problems after the request part of the transaction, then it does not concern Priceline anymore. If a user were to violate a law, breach this agreement of use this site in violation of this agreement, then the user will agree to defend and indemnify Priceline and the covered third parties as well. Agreeing to these terms and conditions lets the user know that there will be consequences if the agreement is not respected. This answered the question if this agreement is considered a valid contract. The Priceline Users Agreement is definitely a valid contract because the limitations and rules of both parties are clearly stated. We need the consent of both parties in order to make the agreement valid, and there are legal consequences if the agreement is breached in any type of way. The Users Agreement approaches the subject of user comments, feedback, and other submissions. When a user submits a comment or gives feedback, they are consenting to their comment and personal information to be used by Priceline. The comment or feedback becomes Priceline's property to be used how they see fit. This section is an element that I see to be unenforceable and could be changed to be more in sync with today's online community. We are in a world where the internet and its community has become our #1 advice giver concerning products or services. Stating that all comments made will become property of Priceline can shy people away from wanting to leave any type of comment. The agreement is a document where things should be stated clearly, but on this particular article, I think it would be best if it was worded differently to mean the same thing, but at the same time adding elements that would make the user comfortable in leaving their comments and letting it become Priceline property. Online comments can make or break a company, and having it ameliorate Priceline would be a good strategy for its website. Priceline states that they cannot guarantee that they will be able to answer all users' requests, and that anything concerning other websites or other services should be directed to these third-party websites and not to Priceline. The company has the right to modify, suspend, or terminate your usage of the site. They shall not be liable for any termination of a user's access to their website. In the case of pricing errors, they state that they will cancel a request or purchase that is wrongly priced, and they will credit back the amount if a purchase has already been made. This is a great example to answer our question if Priceline has any obligations per the agreement. Priceline has obligations throughout the whole agreement, and this obligation to correct a request or purchase that was wrongly priced is a good example in showing their obligation to the customers as a company. If users consent to this agreement, they agree to being contacted by Priceline through electronic means. People accessing the website internationally may not have access to the services offered by Priceline. They have a list showing all the countries they are able to do business in. Priceline has to give the right for hyperlinks to be on their website and permission for any emails with commercial purposes. The company states at the end that by using the site, you consent to the agreement and that this agreement can be modified, revised, or updated by Priceline whenever they see fit. To conclude, this user agreement is a valid contract that states the rules and regulations about the use of Priceline's website. All areas are categorized and are explained in detail so consumers or third parties could make no misunderstandings. By using the website, users are agreeing to this user agreement and are agreeing that they have read and understood all of it. I would have preferred for Priceline to provide a link stating "I agree," so consumers will have no choice but to review the agreement. It could help the company in situations if there was a clear consent made by both parties. Thank you for your time.